Welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. Sitting here with DJ Taormina from, of course, the Elvis Duran Show. Going to start his own radio show next week, man, in Boston. And what's the station in Boston again?
It's 103.3 Amp Radio.
103.3 Amp Radio.
Yep.
You also have out a comedy record.
Yeah.
Called No More Comedy Album?
That's right.
Okay, so what is, why that title?
Well, my father actually took all of my comedy albums away when I was a kid. And he said, no more comedy albums, so I named the album after him.
How old are you?
I'm 28.
Okay, so,
yeah.
So now what kind of comedy records would you have?
When I was 13, I really got into George Carlin, Adam Sandler. Those CDs were some of my favorites.
Sandler's albums are so funny, man. John, did you like any Adam? Did you ever get any Adam Sandler's album? Oh, God, his albums are great.
My wife, too. We play them sometimes around the house.
Because they're rated R, which is great. Unlike, you know, I love a lot of Adam's movies, but mostly PG-13.
Yeah.
The albums were for adults, you know.
Those original albums were fantastic.
Yeah.
So, but my dad hated them, so I named it after him. And he got a kick out of it.
That's what I did with my book. Too Fat to Fish is named after something my mom said.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
That's a brilliant book, by the way. I love that book.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good. It's good to let your parents name stuff for us, especially comedy records. So now this is the one that you and Joanne Kirsten did?
Jessica Kirsten.
Oh, Jessica Kirsten did, right? Okay. And what's it about?
So there's a lot of sketches on the album, and those I did mostly with Jessica. And then I interviewed my grandparents. I set them up in a real recording studio, and I told them that I was recording or that I was playing them the #1 pop song. And it was just this ridiculous song I made up about horses crapping, and they totally bought into it and then gave me serious commentary on it.
That's a great idea. Because, I mean, the older people, I mean, honestly, you don't even need to do it with grandparents.
Yeah.
If you told me, I'm 45, if you told me that was the new, I go, all right, what do you want to know about?
Music used to be good. And they bought it completely. And then another thing I did, I was obsessed with recording my parents when I was a kid. I used to run around the house with a cassette player.
Right.
And so about 10 years ago, I got better audio equipment, and I would just record my parents screaming, because my parents are Italian. So anything will set them off. My mother was cleaning up my dad's dirt off the floor because he walked through the house with dirty shoes, and she's just cursing him out. And I rolled on everything, and that's on the album.
Okay.
My father, who's a contractor and installs windows, he was painting the back room of our house. And so I put a recorder on the shelf, and he was just swearing for hours because he bought the wrong paint. So I cut that down. I put that on the album.
That's aggravating, actually.
Yeah, I know. But it's a mixture of all that type of stuff.
Right. Now, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Hillsdale, New Jersey.
Oh, okay, you're a Jersey kid.
Yeah, so I'm a local here.
So at 28, you've done so much now. At 28, you spent 11 years on a big-time radio show in New York. You became a co-host of one of the biggest shows, and now you got your own show in Boston. That's pretty impressive, man.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
It's I just was really focused on what I wanted. I always wanted to do a morning radio show, and so I did everything I could to just get there. I skipped the partying. I didn't do any of that stuff.
Good, man. That's a way to fast track it, because I always said, you know, you never know what you could do right or wrong. Joe Walsh in the Eagles, the documentary about the Eagles, and the great Joe Walsh says, he quotes this philosopher that talking about life. And it's kind of fascinating. Some philosopher, he doesn't mention the guy's name, says that when you're living life, so many things just seem to happen, like random events smack into one another, and it creates this problem and this situation, and it seems like utter chaos and craziness. And then at the end of your life, when you look back at it, it seems like a finely crafted novel. Like it all makes sense somehow. And kind of that's what my life has been in some ways. Like, you know, I look back to the 8.5 years I was on the Howard Stern show. Like 2 years I was on Mad TV, 2 years I was making movies, whatever. Everything happened where it was just nuts. And I thought it was chaos and none of this makes any sense. And now I look back and it actually, stuff connects.
Oh, yeah.
And without the partying and the screwing up, I think I would have been more successful. But at the same time, it wouldn't have made me the kind of person I am to, I don't know.
Yeah, but Artie, you're so successful right now.
Well,
I think you're in it, so maybe you don't see it, but you are such an inspiration to so many people. Your book is inspiring. We were just talking to your co-host John here, and we were talking about how it strikes so much emotion, and that guy who called before and he said that it sheds a tear. I mean, you're so successful, and I wish sometimes you would just see how successful you are.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I'm proud of having, you know, being involved with DirecTV and the show and everything, but I'm just saying it's maybe not successful. Maybe I would have been happier at times without that stuff. And but I think you should keep doing what you're doing, man. Like as someone older who you've said has influenced you a little bit, I think it's great the path you've taken.
Well, thanks.
And you should keep it up, man, because it's working for you.
Well, thank you.
A lot of people think you need I was a victim of that too. I love John Belushi, and part of me had that thing. And well, you got to be messed up for a while to be great, and you don't. You
No,
don't.
of course not.
I mean, John, like you played football at big time and never did steroids. I mean, all kidding aside,
Right.
you were good enough to play 7 years in the NFL. You didn't need that crap, right?
I was neurotic about losing my job, losing
Right.
my edge. So I would carry. Yeah, I didn't do anything that could risk that.
Right.
Yeah, that's another thing. I'm so paranoid. I love what I do so much. I don't want to do anything that's going to screw
But
it
that's
up.
good, though,
Yeah.
man. I'm saying,
I'm too
don't
afraid.
let some jerk off come around and tell you need some edge, because you don't.
No,
You're edgy enough for what you do. You do something interesting, and you're doing a great job. And we appreciate you coming on. Come back and let us know how it's going.
Oh my God, I would be honored. I'm
And-
so thrilled that you had me in here. It's such a huge deal to me.
Believe
So
me,
thank you.
Stacey speaks highly of. I'm glad you guys met and
Oh, yeah.
work together. So again, it starts Monday, April 1st.
Yep.
Give the station
It's
again.
103.3 Amp Radio.
In Boston. The name of the show is what?
The TJ Show.
The TJ Show.
Yep.
That's great. And no more comedy albums.
Yeah, you can go to nomorecomedyalbums.com or it's on iTunes. And that's a fun side project I did, and we
Great.
just had fun.
You and Jessica Curson.
Yep.
All right, TJ, thanks so much for joining us, and best of luck with everything.
Thank
man.
you, Artie. I appreciate it.
TJ Taormina, and we'll be back with more of the Artie Lange Show.